welcome back. And after 2 weeks off, to Screen Preach, episode 19. One away from 20. It would be 20. It would be 20 right now. 20 weeks it would be. Okay. Yeah. So, what's going on? How was everybody's 4th of July? Good? Mine was good. My dad came and visited. We went to Santa Monica for a couple days and just chilled. It was nice, man. You just chilled. Like, the beaches weren't open, but we could still walk them. You just can't lay out on them or anything. And the hotel we were in was really where we just lay out by the pool and like drink and all the good, chillage that you would want, especially in a quarantine version of 4th of July. It was pretty good for that, in that regard. Still not back to work. Was on the schedule for 2 days and got taken right off because they closed indoor dining again, and bars, and like I mentioned, beaches. So they literally did close up again. Like, that's what it seems like. It seems like we're closed again. What's really been opened, I don't know. Some restaurants are luckier than others. That's kind of how it goes. My restaurant is strictly indoor seating. They only have like a strip of. They don't have much for exterior, so they don't need a shit ton of staff at the moment. We're getting there though, right? I mean, they're planning on the movie theaters opening still, first week of August. So I assume if the theaters are going to open then everything else should too. So they extended us another 3 weeks or whatever, right? I don't know. Yeah, so 2 weeks later, what else is, so I was going to do a special episode every 10 episodes, but I think it's going to be every 25 now. So it'll be like 25, 50, 75, 100. All those episodes will be specials. So normally if this were week 20, it would be a special week, but now I'm just going to wait till 25 and start from there. So 25th episode, special episode. Stay tuned. Don't know yet what movies, what series, what. I'm going to do Marvel, but it's not going to be the next one because I'm not there yet. Like, I was going to watch all those around the holidays, so that's when I'll do the Marvel one. Because when it comes to my top 5 favorite, like, cinematic, I don't like the word franchise, cinematic series, my top 2 are easily Marvel is number 1 and Star Wars is number 2. So I did Star Wars, so now it's time to do Marvel and not beat around the bush on that one. I'm going to have a lot to say about it. If Star Wars was almost a 2-hour episode, Marvel will probably be a 2-hour episode. I know. I'll try not to do that. It would be great to do the specials all in an hour and a half, like max, but we'll see what happens. What else? That's that. Dude, this shirt's too small. Tell me what movie you get a free shirt. Yeah, so Logan was awesome to talk about. So now to finish off our little we're in the teens here, we're going into the 20s. Episode 20 next week. Let's finish off with Hugh Jackman too, his latest film. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, which we'll get into it. Let's do the news. We have 2 weeks worth of news built up. I'll run through it. I'll try to run through it quick, like I did with the Logan episode. I did pretty good with that. I ran through it. All right. Ah, all right, all right. Hey, yeah. what was? Oh yeah, Casey Fry, right? Ah, baby. uh, what else is going on besides? Before we get into the news, I forgot. Let's just real quick. What are we watching? What have I finished? What am I getting ready to watch? You know, all the good stuff. 3 episodes of Yellowstone so far, and the third one was a little bit of a whoa, what the fuck? You know, they left us with a little cliffhanger thing there. Very good, obviously. Still very good. So there's that. I finished The Outsider, which I think I mentioned already. I got my dad to literally binge it while he was here this past weekend. Finished Castle Rock. Season 2 was so good, like better than the first season. They still just now we have more questions than we did answers though. After season 2 of Castle Rock. So who knows what season 3 is going to be because they haven't even announced it yet. Like it's not even on IMDb as like renewed or anything. So I don't even know. But aside from that, what else? I'm just gonna do a bunch of movie marathons in my nighttime. As my nighttime entertainment for the next few weeks or whatever. Maybe even a couple months. I don't know. I don't feel like watching any TV right now because I watched a lot of it recently between Clone Wars, Rebels, The Outsider, Castle Rock. Just take a little break and do some movies that I enjoy watching or that I haven't seen in a while or that I have not seen. Okay, so that's one thing. Always I've seen The Matrix, right? But I have never seen the two that follow because I didn't get around to them. But also because I know they're not as good, so I just put them off. And I watched the second one last night. It's good, fun, really cool. Obviously, this choreography and all that shit is just awesome. The slow motion, all of that. But it's not the first one. And it's such a weird way to end it. I guess that's just because of the way that they produced them, distributed those films. Like, it was back to back in the same year. Literally, the second and third came out in the same year. No joke. That must have been interesting for people who were seeing that shit in real time. To have like a trilogy have the last two come out in the same year. That must have been interesting. And I know the third one's not good, like not nearly as the people who hate it, I know, but they're making a fourth one, so who the fuck knows what's going on there. I want to see what, that's why I'm watching them, because I want to see. If I'm gonna watch the fourth one when it comes out, I want to see what the fuck's going on with this story world and what actually happens. Yeah, cool with that. Decided to rewatch a few Stephen King movies after I watched those two shows. So like I rewatched Misery and Green Mile, Stand By Me, The Shining, Doctor Sleep. Shawshank Redemption is still one of the greatest films ever made. That's pretty much all I've been watching. Not a whole lot coming up either. Just keep going with Yellowstone. So like I said, the news of the week, I'll go through it quick. Right. Let's see what we got here. Where is it? The duck may swim on the lake, but my daddy owns the lake. Seriously, name any movie I quote throughout the episode. comments, and let me know if you got it right. All right, so here we go. News of the last 2 weeks. Real quick, run this down. Did anyone see the new trailer for Shia LaBeouf's new movie? Some kind of crazy action crime drama thing going on there. David Ayer, yeah, Suicide Squad director. Which that's I don't want to judge his work based on that film solely alone. Looks interesting. All I know is, Shia LaBeouf is one unbelievable method fucking actor. The guy, he got the tattoo his character has in the movie. He got that tattoo, like actually got it, like himself for the role. Like he has that tattoo. Like it's just unbelievable. The dedication to, I don't know, he's something else. Aside from that, there was a couple other small things before I get into the bigger thing I saw. Batwoman did recast. Javicia Leslie is going to be the new Batwoman. And apparently it's a new character, too. I don't think she's ever appeared in comics. It's like they're totally from scratch new character. So that's interesting. I don't watch the show, but for people who do, there you go. They did recast. And that's huge, too, because she's a black woman, and I think she's gay. I don't know, but that's cool. I know the character, Ruby Rose's character was, and I think even this character is too. So, yeah. And then there's this. Oh, there was a teaser, by the way. There was a teaser for Halloween Kills, the next Halloween. Here's the thing about the next Halloween, all right? When that new Halloween came out, I was excited about it. Because I'm a fan of the Halloween movies. I love the Halloween movies, but also I'm gonna go see these. I'm just gonna. But I was also intrigued because they said that with the new Halloween that came out in 2018, they are cutting out any of the sequels that followed the originally. Those are all non-canonical now. Like they're out. It's just the original and the one from 2018, which is a cool prospect, a cool idea. You have 1 and 2, like it's a duology. That's it. But then you announce that it's gonna have 2 sequels, so now it's a 4-film thing, and it's just become a fucking series again. You're doing the same thing you were cutting. If it's good quality, then it'll be worth it, and we'll all be like, okay, it was good that they did a little trilogy there. It's like because they were all good. Finished it off. That's it. But if it's not good, it's a problem. Not to mention, if they keep announcing they're gonna do more, you're just doing the same money grabbing shit, and you're fucking up the whole. Whatever. All I know is there was a teaser. It doesn't even come out until next Halloween, literally. But there was a teaser. Literally it's cool too because it picks up right where the movie left off a couple of years ago, and Laurie's just scream. The fire trucks go by because the house is burning. Fucking just watch it. Like she's like, no. Let him burn, and it's so fucking. It looks good. Like it could be just as good because that was good. That movie 2 years ago, that Halloween movie, very good. It had a feel of the original to it, like that none of the other sequels did, except maybe the actual Halloween 2 that came out after Halloween. Go check that out. And then here's this. So we're gonna follow up on things always here on Screen Preach. I mentioned how Ryan Gosling is doing the Wolfman for Universal. There's been a lot of news lately about the monster movies, which is cool. Which is also making me think maybe the next special I do should be the classic monster movies, like from the classics, like 30s, 40s, 50s classics monster movies, like the OG monster movies. There's a lot of news about them lately, so it's cool. They're keeping us. We're kind of getting a feel for what they're going for with their movies. They're not connecting. At least not right away. And that's the way you want to go with these. So Ryan Gosling's Wolfman, apparently they're looking to have the Invisible Man director. I think it's Lee Wingham. What's his name? Lee Winghall or something like that. Shit, and it's, of course it's not up on the thing. Whatever. Anyway, he might direct the Wolfman movie with Ryan Gosling too. So he will have, for Universal, he will have done 2 of their monster movies. And if Invisible Man is any indication of what it could be like, it'll probably be a great Wolfman, and I am psyched for that. If he's actually going to do it, I loved the Invisible Man was really good. And the Wolfman is my favorite of all the monsters, so yeah, psyched for that. I hate the way these headphones make my hair like bunch up or something. Sorry, Screen Priest is also a show where you have to watch me scratch my fucking head 500 times. Alright. Seriously, this shirt's too small. I don't think I should wear it ever again. Let's go. Oh, I wanted to talk about this briefly. So, the Black Widow director, Kate Shortland, mentioned that there's a possible passing of the baton between Natasha Romanoff and Yelena Belova, which, from Scarlett Johansson to Florence Pugh. Okay, called this like 6 months ago. Literally, whatever. I've said that it happens in the comics, people. Of course, Yelena's got to be the next Black Widow in the next generation. In this next saga, she's the new Black Widow. That's what they're setting. Why wouldn't they set that up here? It makes sense. But the thing is, what I don't understand is, when Florence Pugh was asked about that in an interview months ago, she said, "No, that's not happening. No, I'm not. I'm only doing one movie." Like, so then, if they're trying to keep it like, if they're trying to play coy about it and not let us know, so that when the movie comes out and we get, oh shit, like she will be the next Black Widow, like, which is the way it should be. Why is the director spoiling it for us now? Just let us see if that's going to happen, if that's actually going to happen. Again, she also could just be playing with us. I don't know. But obviously, yes, we would want... Dude, imagine we go from Scarlett Johansson in one generation to Florence Pugh in the next. It's fire. It's just fire. So, yeah. There's that. Oh, and then Ennio Morricone died. Dude. OG legend. Legendary Italian composer of films. He's the old spaghetti western composer. He did all those old movies. And he did Tarantino's The Hateful Eight. Tarantino brought him in specifically to do the score for that movie. And he won an Oscar for that. Oh, man, he's gone. Rest in peace, by the way. Yeah. And aside from that, there's some quick shit. We have Christopher McQuarrie is working on a new R-rated film with Tom Cruise after Mission Impossible. Wonder what that could be. Interesting. Brainstorming that. What could that be? And then there's a new trailer for the HBO Max comedy that Seth Rogen is doing called An American Pickle. Go check that out. It looks interesting. HBO Max they're ramping up over here. I think they're a little worried, too. They have all their DC films getting pulled. They're not on there, so I don't know what's going on with that. So they're, like, letting us know about other shit that's coming to keep us excited, which I will get into as the last thing I mentioned with the news, because it's interesting. That I just saw. It was recent news. I put it up on my Instagram. There's a film called Emancipation that Antoine Fuqua, I don't know how to say his name, sorry, and Will Smith, I don't know if I mentioned it yet, I don't think I did, but I saw that they're doing this thriller, Emancipation. Seems like an interesting story, and now it looks like it's going to be on Apple, Lands at Apple, so probably an Apple TV Plus film. So there's that. And then um, there's a film called Unruly coming out, starring Mahershala Ali to play Jack Johnson. Another good story, like another relevant story that of the time for the times that is worth keeping your eyes peeled for. And I'll keep you posted on things always, of course. Then there's The Mandalorian. So season 2 is coming out in October. They're doing books now for the show. Officially there are books coming out for The Mandalorian. Some of them are just novelizations, whatever, but there's one that's interesting that could be like a new storyline or something because it's a little mysterious title or untitled. But yeah, there are books coming. And that's for anyone who's... I got a whole Star Wars Legends collection building over there. And I'm done. After this week, I will have the whole collection I want. And that's it. And I'm reading them. I'm not even actually on that book anymore. I'm on the second one now. And it's just it's fucking great. It's a great storyline. Mandalorian books. Cool news. I haven't done any canon reading. It's Legends right now, which I'm not going to get into what that means. Look it up on Google. I want to get into... Let's keep it moving. Go. Curb Your Enthusiasm, renewed for season 11. Yes. Thank you, of course. Obviously. I'm rewatching that too right now. It's so funny. So funny. More Curb, please. Yes. Obviously. With Larry David, with that show, he decides if he wants to do more. He can take a break and then come back. Like, he's done that before. That show, he just decides when he wants to do another one, and then he does it. Seth Rogen and Nickelodeon partner for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated movie. Huh. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I feel like we haven't gotten news on that in a real long time. What they're doing with that IP is clear. They're gonna take an animated film to Nickelodeon. I guess. Is that even newsworthy? I don't know. Nickelodeon? What the fuck? Just with all the shit we have today, get it on a streaming service. I don't know. Whatever. And then Anthony Mackie. So obviously we are in it with some of our current event news. We're still. I know that I donate monthly, and I know that the fight against injustice continues because it should. Some people have mentioned things like lately though that this thing with I don't know how these white voice actors stepping away from their roles if the roles are a different race thing is weird. A little bit. I don't know. But at the same time, cast black voice actors to voice white characters. Like, just hire the right people for the job. It's not hard. Which brings me to this little bit of... I like that Anthony Mackie addressed it because I wasn't aware. And that's the thing, you're never aware of these things, so educate yourself. But he called out Marvel because while there is diversity on one side of the camera, on the other side of the camera, there's still not. Like, he made a good point. He said, why are you hiring all black crew and, camera people, gaffer? Why is your whole crew black for the black movie? Like, for instance, Black Panther is the movie that they hired all black people for, and he said, in his words, that's more racist than not hiring them for white character movies. It's just hire the right people for the job. Like, don't. It's more racist to do that. He's right, absolutely. So there's he's going to be the new Captain America. Like Sam Wilson, like Anthony Mackie's going to be Captain America. Like that's dope. Especially considering his arc as a character. We've been following his character since Winter Soldier, 2014. And now he goes from and this story, I also heard a rumor that they might change the title of the show in season 2 so that it more fits, which would mean that Falcon and the Winter Soldier becomes Captain America and the White Wolf, which would be fucking dope as fuck. No confirmation on that yet, by the way, but he's gonna be Captain America. He's working on this show. The Falcon and Winter Soldier's gonna premiere soon. Apparently, there's like barely any black crew working on the show. That's what he means. Like why can't you just hire the right people for the job? And that's where all studios need to do better. Even Marvel. Yes, even Marvel. Because they do that. Like they're even doing that. I bet they're doing that right now with Shang-Chi. They're hiring all Asian people to do Shang-Chi. Like, just hire the right people. Like, it's weird. It's a thing we need to break. It's a pattern we need to... We just need to do better in that regard. Can always do better, is the point. Okay, so the two big things that I wanted to talk about. First, Ozark has been renewed for a 4th and final season. That's right. So, when it comes back, it's for the last time. Netflix's Breaking Bad, Ozark is coming to an end. It's a short series, just like Breaking Bad was a short series. And I heard they're doing it in 2 parts, kind of like how Breaking Bad did it in 2 parts. I don't know why I'm pointing this way. There's no Breaking Bad poster there. Yeah, 2 parts. Season 4 broke into 2 parts, 14 episodes total, and that's it. Ozark, great fucking show, and it will be coming to an end very soon. So let's enjoy what we get left. I can't imagine what that final season's going to be. On another level. And then finally, to finish off the news of the week, HBO Max has announced that they are doing The Batman, that means the one with Robert Pattinson coming out, spin-off series focused on the Gotham PD. So the Gotham PD we get introduced to in 2021's The Batman will have a show centered around them on HBO Max. Probably will be TVMA too. It'll probably be like a gritty, realistic version. It'll be like a cop show, but in Gotham. Like, it'll probably be fucking crazy. They're doing a Gotham show on HBO. My question is how do you make this feel fresh and unique and interesting and different in its own way when you had a show on Fox called Gotham about Gotham's police, about Jim Gordon and the police? So how do you do it differently with this show? It's the one thing that I would say, what are we doing with this? Like, how's this going to go? Aside from that, the director of The Batman, Matt Reeves, who did the Planet of the Apes trilogy recently, is also involved in the show. So we'll see what his take on Batman is soon when that movie comes out, and then he will be involved in the show as well. Hey, there's a lot of potential for DC right now with HBO Max. If Disney Plus is Marvel's TV universe, then HBO Max is DC's next wave of TV content. And that is the news of the week, or of the last 2 weeks. So yeah, I tried to keep us updated on Screen Preach's Instagram. Follow at Screen Preach. I do my best to keep that going, keep you informed. But yeah, let's get into get into it. Let's talk about our movie of the week. In the name of the Godfather, Son of Odin, and the Holy Jedi. Going to talk about Bad Education today. It's Hugh Jackman's latest. It was on HBO. It was an HBO original film. That's where you would find it. That's where it is. And then I realized after, why did I buy it when it's on there? Whatever. I did the same thing with Onward recently, which is on Disney Plus, and I fucking bought it. Whatever. It's just it's 2 more movies added to my collection. All right. Sue me. You might forget, but we don't. We never forget. Ever. This is said by Hugh Jackman in his character's defining moment in the 3rd act of this film. The irony of the quote, aside from him showing his true colors to an audience he would normally otherwise pretend around, to the parents and the students, the irony is that he says this, and after what he did, what he does, nobody is ever going to forget him again. So that line is ironic in that he is saying it at a time when he is exposed for what he does, and nobody's going to be forgetting him anytime soon. So the quote is ironic in that regard. Spoilers ahead for Bad Education. If you haven't seen it yet, it's on HBO. You can find it on HBO right now, so go check it out. Story and script, I'll talk about. It was an interesting story, I'll say that. It's a true story. And when you approach something like this, you want to try and do it in an interesting way. So they could have just conventionally told. It could have been just some. I don't know. They're both greedy, They want money, whatever. Like just typical crime, like embezzlement story. But they take an interest. They go a little bit. It's like there's a good take here. I liked. Now, this is a true story, so it would have been easy to focus on the obvious, greedy actions. I think what the film does a good job with is exploring the differences between the 2 criminal characters in the film. The character of Frank Tassone, played by Hugh Jackman, whether or not all of the portrayal here is accurate doesn't matter. The character of Frank is interesting because he's a very human kind of evil. So if he is evil, it's a very human kind. Evil's a strong word, but it can apply. What the film does well with his character is build to a full understanding of that character, slowly. We're slowly introduced to the sociopath that he turns out to be. It's only further heightened by Hugh Jackman's truly exceptional performance. If that's why the movie shines in any regard, is because of Hugh Jackman's performance. I didn't expect the film to be what it was. I almost thought it would be more dark, if anything. I didn't know it would be like kind of. It's funny and it's actually more of a satirical approach, and it ended up working really well for the movie overall. Greed is obvious in a story like this. It is a theme, but I don't think it's the main theme, and here's why. So Frank, right? Frank's the main character. He embodies the main theme. And the main theme is prideful arrogance and or hubris, right? Attention, wanting, craving, desperation that he reeks of. He embodies this, Frank. It's not greed that he embodies. It's this. Along with this theme, there's the obvious themes, like status, success, power, control, and a big one is like this idea of victory and winning, which keeps recurring in the film. And watching the film a second time too allows you to really see these things, because when you watch it the first time, you're curious about what direction they're kind of going with it. Second time, you pick up on these things. How the film builds to revealing the true Frank Tassone is the best part about the writing. When you deal with characters like this and they're supposed to be your main characters, you have to try to empathize with them, which is tough because they're bad. Like, they're bad guys and they're your main characters. And it's tough to do, so you have to. And what's tough is doing it in a new and unique way, which I think they do here. We have the character of Rachel in this film because of this. It would have had to have been a different approach to the film if we didn't include the perspective of those mainly affected by what Frank and Pam do. So you need the student's perspective. And why not? Obviously, you take the student who actually broke the story and make her a main character in the film. She's really your hero in a lot of ways. Rachel is the true good character that we follow and care about. She represents the people who are fucked over by Frank and Pam. She represents the innocent. She even represents us, the audience. So what the filmmakers did was try and make us understand Frank a little at a time to make it more interesting. In order to try, and I say try because it is tough, try and empathize with Frank. We briefly get a sense of his perspective when Frank goes off on Mrs. Switzner in the third act. That quote that I quoted. What he says to her, in part, is very true in a way. He's fucked up and he's wrong and he's bad and he did a bad thing. But what he says it has an air of truth to it, right? Because if you look at the ensemble here, there's an irony to the fact that what Frank and Pam do does inject a ball of wealth into the look of the school, into the other people who run the school, their colleagues. They all make money because of the crimes, and they are all quick to judge and turn on Frank and Pam. Nobody asks any questions because if you're in a good place financially and socially, who wants to ruin that? And that's a good little... They touch on that, which I think is important to touch on. There is an air of judgment, an ungratefulness, if you will. It's very minimal, and it doesn't overshadow what actually occurred, what Frank and Pam actually did. What they did was wrong and obvious. The right and wrong is clear. But you need to acknowledge these little things. So, at the end of the day, there is no denying who they do it for themselves. But, in the process, too, they fuck over everyone else. So it's an appalling crime. But that scene with Switzner is meant to give us one moment of true understanding about Frank and even about Pam and why they did what they did at the start. Not why they kept doing it, because that's obvious, the greed and the power, but why they started to do it in the first place. You have to give us that point of view. People like Frank and other teachers do get taken for granted, so that's why the quote is so interesting. There is an air of truth to it. Teachers get taken for granted. I'm guilty of this. Who remembers their fucking 5th grade or 10th grade fucking teacher that, like, the point is teachers are taken for granted. It is a thing that happens. They do get forgotten about. And it's this feeling that sticks in Frank's mind. It's one of the sources of his and Pam's turn to selfishness and greed, which I thought was interesting. You have to take that approach. But like I said, it's also ironic because after what they do, no one will be forgetting them anytime soon. So structurally, it's a little movie too. It's a small movie. It's nothing. It's a good little movie. Structurally, I thought it was a little uncertain. I wasn't sure what the main... trying to figure out what the big plot points were was a little tough, but there are interesting beats and setups. I think Frank being Frank, needing and wanting attention, needing to be wanted or liked or admired, is the very thing that sparks his downfall. He has to intervene when he tells Rachel, no, come in, bother me. In the beginning, he tells Rachel, come in, bother me. His inability to just leave things alone is what brings him down, in a way. his little remark about the skywalk, saying it's a bridge, is ironic because he unknowingly provides the bridge of information to Rachel. The bridge Rachel needs to get the information that blows the roof all off this whole fucking thing. So there, I like that little tiny little. It was a little thought-provoking film, wasn't it? I picked up on little things like that. The inciting action of the story is when Rachel is underestimated or not taken seriously by Pam. Pam literally gives her the keys to the kingdom, the keys to the basement, to the dirty cellar of secrets, right? So that's the inciting action. The true start of the film at the end of Act 1 is when Pam is discovered. It's also when Frank is more revealed. We start to, right there, learn more of who Frank really is. And we're supposed to not be sure. We're supposed to not be sure if he's involved right away. But watching it twice, you can see what they were going with, what the approach was. A close on Frank. They do like an extreme close on Frank in that scene too, as the information is being revealed about Pam. It shows him processing everything. And in that moment, he's not thinking about what's best for the school or what's best for the community. He's only thinking about what's best for him and how can he make sure he's secure and not caught. That's why they push in on him in that moment. He's like, all right, how do I keep myself safe? Like, his sociopathic mind is just working. Like, so, watching it a second time, you pick up on that. He's only, so he's only thinking about himself. It's Frank who comes up with the plan to hide Pam's actions, which makes them all an accessory right off the bat, but also tells us Frank's probably hiding something himself, right? But I think they did a good job of making you not sure if because he seems like this nice guy. He's always about the community, about the school, about everybody. So you're not sure, which was good. He's protecting his secrets in that scene. That's what that plan and everything, he's just protecting himself. Again, at the end of the scene, there's another close on Frank when Bob says, "You saved our asses, Frank." But really, no, he saved his own ass. That's the point of those. Visually, those close-ups were really good. The reversal of the film is when Rachel follows a lead that bumps her right into Frank's secrets at the hotel where he lives, at the living space where he lives with his life partner. This sparks unraveling, so Frank has to cover his tracks a little after this. This is when Frank's greed is revealed. So of course Frank has greed, but I think Pam more embodies greed than Frank does. And I'll get into that. His greed is not the first thing we discover about him, but the last thing. Him and Pam are supposed to come off as differently. Plot point 2 at the end of Act 2 is Frank becoming the villain. So he becomes the bad guy. In covering his track, he relentlessly keeps pushing forward and trying to make sure he can come out on top of this. Winning is the one and only goal for Frank DeSona. So like I said, it's a theme. It's a recurring thing. So he has no problem turning on people to do so, right? To protect himself, to win, if you will. The reaffirmation is Rachel's. Notice how the plot points, the way I took it anyway, the plot points are Rachel's journey. Because that's where all the change happens, really. And that's where all the good guy stuff happens, because she's the good guy. So the reaffirmation is her decision. She has to make a decision in the movie. She has to decide if she's going to go after Frank. And she does. The down and out is the takedown of Frank by Rachel. And the climax is the blowing up of everything that follows that takedown. Structurally, I was a little unsure, but it doesn't mean it wasn't done well. Anything like that. Direction-wise, in terms of direction, there was only one moment that stood out to me besides those close-ups I mentioned. So, in the opening shot, we pan left, passing a janitor cleaning up, and I thought that was symbolic, because it keeps panning and stops at the bathroom where we see Frank cleaning up. So it's like this idea of putting on a mask. So he's putting on his mask while at the same time the janitor cleans the school representing the same mask or facade Frank has covered the school with, being in control of things. Frank and the school are hiding in plain sight, not what they appear. The school can appear like this great and wonderful place, but really it's rotting on the inside as we get those little moments of this, like the ceiling, literally there's leaks and shit. Like it's on the surface, Frank looks like a good guy. On the surface, the school looks great. But underneath, it's the exact opposite. So I like that. My overall take on this film, so let's just get into it here. Is for Frank, it's all about winning. It's getting to number one is a phrase that they throw around constantly in the movie. So it's like Frank's facade is everything about him. So he wants to win and he'll do anything to win, right? And to do it, he has to wear this mask because if people saw who he really was, he wouldn't be able to achieve what he's trying to achieve. And his facade is everything about him, and I mean everything, literally, which you might not pick up on the first time you watch it. His diet, his preparations and little rituals that he does, his cosmetic surgeries, everything. These are all slowly revealing to us the real Frank. We're not supposed to know if he's involved right away, so they did a good job with that. But he comes off to everyone and to us as a genuinely good guy at first. Cares about the students, the parents, the community, the school itself, the staff, his colleagues. He plays the angle so well that he's revered by everyone. Slowly, this mask fades away, and we see him for who he really is. I think you want to believe he's not like Pam at first. We want to believe he's one of the good guys, because he's supposed to be our main character. We start off with him and everything. We want to believe that he's not like Pam. And in actuality, it ends up being worse. So I'll get into this, because this is important. I think this whole dynamic between Frank and Pam, I think it's summed up best by the note moment in the film. Pam is on her way out after getting exposed. She's fired. She leaves. But she leaves Frank a note. And earlier in the film, when Frank fires her, he calls her a sociopath. Right? The note she leaves him says, "I'm not the sociopath here." And she's right. In that moment, sums it up perfectly. This is what we come to learn. Allison Janney, she did a really, really good job, obviously. Now, I'm not saying Pam isn't unhinged, because she is. And I'm not saying Frank isn't greedy, because he is. But these two characters are two sides of a coin. That's what I found most interesting about the movie. If Pam represents the greed side of this, then Frank is the attention. He's everything else, right? For him, it's true that it's less about the money. What he really wants is the status, the attention, the victory, the success. Money comes along with those things. But later we learn it's less money and more those things for Frank. For Pam, it's about money, which is why in the end she embezzled more than he did. When they show us the actual numbers that they actually embezzled. But of the two of them, Frank is the sociopath. And Frank he ends up being the villain. He's the one who manipulates people and situations. He's the one who has to look and be presented a certain way, wear a mask. What he spends the money on for him sums it up. He tells Bob in one of the last scenes that it wasn't about the money, right? Or he'd live in a nice house, have all these things. And it's true in some respects. What he spends the money on is for his appearance, right? How he comes off, how he carries himself and looks to people. His sociopathic tendencies are expressed through his ability to put things like cosmetic surgery or suits or fucking dry clean, anything that makes him look a certain way. He puts those things over something as simple as fixing leaks in the school. Like, he takes his own appearance more seriously than actually doing something decent for the school and fixing a fucking leak. He is completely revealed in that. As the movie progresses, they do a good job of slowly revealing who he is. He will do whatever it takes to secure that facade of his, to the point where he uses people, puts them beneath him, to the point where he can't risk letting people know he's gay. Like he literally can't. Like that would jeopardize this appearance, this mask that he's wearing, this persona that he's going for. It doesn't involve him being a gay man, so he literally has to hide that too. He uses a big lie to cover that up. This whole idea that his spouse, his wife, was killed. He even hides it from his spouse, from his partner. He didn't know. He wore a mask for him too. In the end, it's truly poetic the way it all crashes down to. It should be Rachel. It should be one of the people affected by all this, a student affected by this that takes him down. So that was great. They don't even respect her enough to take her seriously in the beginning. They don't care about anyone but themselves, or they would have spent that money on the things it should have been spent on. Plain and simple. End of story. Done. So yeah. Actually, a pretty fucking good movie, honestly. You might not think so when you watch it once. Maybe you will think so watching it once. It's a good movie. It's not like a really, really, really good movie, and it's not a great movie, but it's a good movie. So, I mean, it didn't blow me away or anything. Sometimes I wasn't sure who knew what about who. That's like one thing if you're watching it one time, like you could be a little confused about like, does Frank know about Pam? Does Pam know about him? The other staff, what do they know? Sometimes, like, I was just a little unsure about, like, wow, I can't believe how freaking low down this. I don't know why I lost, like, I have to fix this for next time. It's, like, really annoying. I don't know. That wasn't really a big thing either. It's not like you couldn't really tell. You're not supposed to know, though. Remember? You know, that's part of the point. You're not supposed to know who knows what. It slowly reveals itself. I just want to point out real quick that I was honestly truly shocked when they tell you at the end of the film the final numbers that were still. I couldn't believe. I thought it was like in the hundreds of thousands, but Jesus, man, there was a lot more than I expected. Yeah, like millions of dollars, like ridiculous. So, with that being said, I give it a 7.7 out of 10. It was a good movie. Go check it out. It's on HBO right now. And if you have my account, I have it too. Let's do our movie quote of the week. This week's genre. This week's genre is crime drama. So I went with a nice one because this is kind of like a satirical crime comedy. So I'm going to go with a similar route. Let's see if you can get it. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. Name that movie, and if you can't name that movie, Jesus, come on. It's a very famous movie of the last decade. Okay. How did we do? Oh, we got a nice little quick one for you. I wanted to come in under an hour this week. It's good. Let's finish this up. Wrap it up. Rack 'em up. Dark Knight. Joker. Rack 'em up. Right? Yeah, that's from when he's got them using the things to get the helicopter, whatever. As usual, you know who I am. You should at this point. Follow the show at Screen Preach. Follow me personally, the Ben Morganti. Check out my website at benmorgantistory.com. I am officially writing the third draft of my 7th project. It'll be up there as well within the next 3 weeks. So check it out at benmorgantistory.com. You can find the podcast where you find podcasts. That's Apple Podcasts, YouTube, And at YouTube, it's BMS Studios. So subscribe to BMS Studios. If you really want to support the show, if you really want to support the show, how many times am I going to say that one? If you really want to support the show, if you really want to support the show, become a patron at Patreon. Check out my brother's channel at J&J Customs. And another good week, successful. Thank you for this. Is a good one. Come back next week. I'm gonna for our 20th episode, 20 weeks. I'm gonna talk about Spike Lee's latest film, Da 5 Bloods. So come back for more and have a cinematic week.